Welcome. I'm Jessica Lonnie Rich, host of Inspire You and Me. It's an inspirational show where we talk to people who are making a difference. On this week's show, we have the president of the Chinatown Business and Community Association, Chu Lan Shubert-Kwock, the athletic director for Sacred Hearts Academy, Ryan Hogue, and the co-founder of Tihati Productions, Thompson. And be sure to stay tuned for the Animal Lovers Clip of the Week. We'll have all that and more, and we'll be back right after this.
5914-777. Shoot-a-wah. Who's got the best deals in Vegas around? Who's got the best job? Shoot-a-doo. Call 5914-777 today. Vacations Hawaii. Vacations Hawaii. Vacations Hawaii. Good luck, we go play. 5914-777 today. Good luck. We go play.
We are very pleased to have as our special guest on the show. She is the president of the Chinatown Business and Community Association, Chu Lan Shubert-Kwock. Hi, Chu Lan. It's so good to see you again.
Aloha. Thank you for doing this wonderful show to inspire people.
Chu Lan, what is the mission of the Chinatown Business and Community Association?
The mission of Chinatown Business and Community Association is very simple: to protect and preserve our Chinatown for future generations, and to preserve the cultural heritage that we all inherited in Hawaii, being that it's the oldest Chinatown in the United States. Very few people know about that because everybody thinks it's San Francisco
Yes, I
and
thought
New York.
So too. Yeah.
Because the Chinese came to Hawaii in the early days to trade, and also at the invitation of King Kamehameha to advise them, because Chinese have been trading and seafaring for a long time.
Amazing.
Yes, and
Well,
so they actually bought all the sandalwood from Hawaii.
Chu Lan, you're doing a lot in your community. Share with us about many of those programs you're involved in.
So we used to work with 5 community police all over, and almost every month or every 3 weeks we have cleaning of Chinatown. We have the kids from the Mayorite housing or anything that the police recommended with these kids in trouble. So we host them and we take them to park cleaning. We host them for lunch. We really help. So the community police actually work with us pretty solidly. We do safety walks. We have safety thing for all our streets. And every month on a Saturday, we'll have a traffic safety workshop. So we get people out there handing out posters. We pay for all this. And so it was very good to have community police. And now we're actually asking the new mayor to please allow community police to come back.
Chu Lan, businesses have been very challenged during COVID-19. There's been a lot of hardship, but what was business like before COVID-19?
Business has been declining over the years due to several reasons. Number 1 being homelessness. Number 2, unsafe environment. Number 3, the proliferation of open markets. All the markets everywhere, Saturday, Wednesday, wherever, has taken away businesses from the fresh produce. And people don't think about that. It's heavily upset business in Chinatown, where you have a lot of farmers market everywhere. So nowhere else in our community can they compete with Chinatown's availability of services and goods. But because it's so unsafe, it has hurt a lot of merchants.
As you know, there have been a lot in the national news about racism towards the Chinese community in many of the Chinatowns around the country. Has Hawaii been affected by that?
Luckily, Hawaii is not in that. As far as I know, very few instances. Maybe in Waikiki, few instances you might know better than me. But in Chinatown, we witnessed very few of that. But we really saw a big slump. About 30% of businesses have closed from downtown to Chinatown. And then most merchants are not able to carry as many merchandise as they would like because we have lesser customers. So COVID is a really serious blow on top of what we are already experiencing the last 20 years.
We see that there are a lot of challenges in Chinatown, but can you share with us a success story?
A very inspiring story is about a Vietnamese taxi cab driver. He came in from Vietnam. His name is Mr. Lam. He opened Bali sandwich shop with $20,000 borrowed with a used oven, and he baked Bali sandwiches. And so now he's very famous. He owns a building, he has a beautiful home in Kahala, and he has maybe like 20, 30 shops that are Bali franchises. And it came out of right across from Oahu Market. And he's a very nice man. I just sold his building on 222 Kamehameha across from Triple C. Yeah, very humble man. He got all kinds of awards for best businessman, but we see he never gave up. When he came, he had no money, he was driving a taxi, no education, couldn't speak English, but now he is an inspiration to all the immigrants. And he's only one of many who has succeeded in never give up every morning, do your job, dream, and then have a better life for your kids. Your kids went to Yolani. They're all successful. They're running that business, you know, that Latour, that's Gestu.
The name of our show is Inspire You and Me. Chu Lan, what inspires you?
Everyday people doing everyday thing so that we have, you know, the rhythm of life. They get up every morning like the hardworking shopkeepers. They're there. They inspire me. They get out of bed at 4 o'clock and they're out there providing a service. The everyday men and women who are not looking for fame or fortune, but because they have this motivation to serve. I mean, of course they make a living, but if they didn't get up in the morning and do the things that they do in Chinatown, we will have no Chinatown. If everybody does sleep late and not do it in a consistent manner. So I always think that the people that get up every morning and do their thing are my everyday, ordinary heroes. Of course, I have big heroes like Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, you know, Mother Teresa, currently, you know, Pope Francis, because they are the big movers, angels of the world that is inspiring millions of people. But without the little people, there's nothing that goes on in our life that really gets us up to the next day and get us to do what we're supposed to do. So I always believe that I'm a Buddhist, but I always believe there's one God and that we all are motivated to help the next human being, just like our homeless. I really want a lot of more mental health workers to be hired by the city, and I'm working on that to try and get them to hire on their own on a 90-day non-civil position so that they can go out there and provide medical services to homeless and get them into homes. They are our biggest problem, our biggest tragedy. And what inspires me is for them to get off the street and get a better life. And then it's a win-win-win-win-win for everyone.
Chu Lan, thank you so much for being a guest on Inspire You and Me. You have
inspire
really
me.
inspired me today.
Yeah, thank you.
The law firm of Cronin Freed is proud to sponsor Inspire You and Me, a show about people in our community who are making a difference. I'm Rick Freed, and our law firm of 16 attorneys handles major injury cases, choosing to devote our considerable talent and staff to those injured people and victims for whom we can make a great difference. We hope that you will be inspired to follow your dreams and find your purpose.
We are really excited to have as our special guest on the show. He is the athletic director for Sacred Hearts Academy. Please welcome Ryan Hogue. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you again.
Yeah.
Ryan, you're an athletic director. Share with us, what are some of your responsibilities?
Well, we're responsible for the whole athletic experience of student athletes. For me, it starts in the 4th grade, so providing those opportunities, but that comes with a lot of health and safety, especially now, scheduling, We usually deal with transportation, which we're not right now. Just making sure that the programs run successfully in a positive way. Hiring coaches, overseeing coaches, working with administration and parents, and making sure everyone's on the same page. And making it a valuable experience for the kids, which is why we do it. To teach them life skills that are going to carry on. And I do it because I believe athletics really replicates life and teaches the skills, and it prepared me well for moving into life.
Ryan, what is the mission of Sacred Hearts Academy?
Sacred Hearts Academy mission, of course, is to work with girls, yes, and to prepare girls that are civic-minded. They want to make their community better. They want to make their family better. It's rooted in faith from the sisters, and then the start of 1910 when they opened the school. It's really got a strong culture of hard work. So it's about preparing women for life, but to love God, themselves, and their community, and do all they can to make sure that they are fulfilling all that they want from life.
What was your job like before COVID-19 hit?
So we have, in a typical year, 55 teams, up or down depending on levels, or we might have 2 JV teams or so forth, in 22 different sports. So when I talk to our girls and our families, I say, we've got something for everybody. If you're not an athlete, go out and try something. Go try sailing, go try bowling. We offer riflery, cross country, cheerleading, judo, water polo, golf. So there's such a wide variety. And yes, many of those you have to have some skill to participate, and maybe you have to grow up playing, but some you can go out for the first time. We compete in a competitive league, but Sacred Hearts also provides the opportunity for almost anybody to fulfill that experience through their senior year. As long as they have a positive attitude, they work hard, they support their team, we're going to give them an opportunity to be a part of it. And we've got some of the best, and we've got some that really just want that experience to be able to participate through high school.
We talked about COVID-19 and sports before COVID, but how were you affected? How was sports affected after COVID-19?
Things have changed. They've changed drastically. I just came from a cross-country meet. It's our first JV varsity cross-country meet in over a year. So there was just time with no activity for so long, and even though there was no activity with the kids as athletic directors, we were still meeting and trying to problem solve, and it's taken this much time to get to a point where the community is safe to participate, but we have been able to put in policies, procedures, safety protocols where we feel the kids can safely get out there. So we are now just getting back to some of these sports, not all the sports. We don't have all the sports. We are trying. We're working on football. We're working on judo, water polo, these high contact sports. There's so much unknown science, developing science, different opinions, so it's a lot of conversation.
There have been articles in the newspaper recently that the mental health of many people have been affected since COVID-19, but how has it affected your students?
Those interpersonal interactions are not there to have that many conversations because we're just not that social right now, but you can see it, you know it, I feel it, I know the kids feel it because there's so many dynamics to that. It's, I'm good enough to play in college, but will I get an opportunity to prove it? It's, I need this for the endorphins because I struggle from depression and anxiety. So these kids need to go out and they need the interaction, they need the coach's positive feedback, they need the endorphins in their blood. And if they're not getting it, it's a drastic change to these kids' lives. And then you have kids where this is the most important thing to them, right? Playing sports is the most important thing. School, yes, but I love sports and it's been taken away from me. And you have to understand as a kid, it's so challenging.
Yeah, it is. And speaking of sports, I've been meaning to ask you, do you have a favorite sport? I mean, because you're an athlete yourself.
Yeah, I'm definitely partial to basketball. It's what I played growing up. I played in college. I played a little bit professionally, and I coached it. And that's, my foot in the door to be an athletic administrator was through basketball. But there are so many beautiful games and watching and learning, and basketball is similar to other sports. Like I watch soccer, and I can see similar skills and schemes, but I love to watch softball, and I love to watch kids compete. Really there's nothing like watching kids go out and put their best effort out there and improve. And I tell kids, I said, you have to understand that when it's not mom and dad in the stands, it's the random person coming in here, that's what they want to see. They want to see kids at their best. Yeah. They want to see you overcome, and even if we fall short, they're just here to see you guys improve.
You have helped so many students. Can you share with us any success story?
Yeah, our girls go on to do great things. They become women who are incredibly successful in life. But we have some that athletics is a great avenue. I can start with Phoebe Kirk, who was a couple years ago. She just graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy, and as a Marine Corps officer, she was a 4-time state champion with us, a 4.0 kid, and left moving on to be an astronaut. You know, that was her goal. Now she's gone into the Marine Corps, and I'm not sure exactly where she is, but she's a female officer in the Marine Corps and a Naval Academy graduate. We are so proud. Anytime we have one of our students go on to the academies, we've had some go on to West Point. We send kids to Cornell, Ivy League schools. Sacred Hearts is #1 in the state for financial aid to the University of Hawaii systems. So our girls, just with that hard work, they get these opportunities. And one of my coaches has been an administrator at the medical school, John A. Burns, and he says, you send us some of our best doctors. It's the work ethic. We get kids from the name brand schools, but your girls bring a hard work ethic.
The name of our show is Inspire You and Me. Ryan Hogue, what inspires you?
Being able to provide these opportunities keeps us moving forward. You know, our job as athletic administrators, some people think we ride golf carts around, and it's so much long days of paperwork and meetings and everything else, but at the end of the day is the reward of the kids getting out and playing, and that, I think, keeps us all moving forward. Also, seeing other administrators and how they work inspires you, you know, your colleagues, and I had great coaches. My coaches were certainly inspirational and planted that seed in me early that you can make a difference in someone's life.
Ryan, thank you so much for being a guest on Inspire You and Me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Always fun.
It's the simple things in life. A familiar place, a familiar name. Let me take you there. Come with me and rediscover eggs and things. La 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 la. Eggs and things. Taste and quality.
We are very excited to have as our special guest on the show. She is one of the co-founders of Tihati Productions and much, much more, Cha Thompson. Hi, Cha.
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Jessica. I'm so happy to be here.
A lot of people don't know that you were born in Kalihi, a more economically challenged neighborhood. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
My daughter always says, why when they write about you or when you're interviewed, they always say you're from Kalihi. And I had to explain that, or she'll also say, you've lived longer now in Hawaii Kai. How come they don't say that? And so I say, well, I didn't learn anything from Hawaii Kai. Who I am and everything I've learned is from the tenement housing, Cam 4, Building 30, and I'm very proud of that.
Cha, you are a legend in Hawaii. You have one of the top Hawaiian entertainment companies in the state. Explain to us how that whole process happened.
I was a silly little hula girl, and I really didn't enjoy that. Eventually, when I was 18, Elaine Frisbee, my mentor, from Pukapuka Otea, she's from Rarotonga, the Cook Islands, and I went to join the only Polynesian show at that time at Queen Surf, and I eventually became her lead dancer. She eventually retired, and I was all of 18, I think, and she gave me all the things when she was going to retire, all the fa'atetes and the to'eres, and she said, here, take it and run. Well, what does an 18-year-old know about business? And so I married this wonderful man.
And you've been married a long time.
55 years.
Wow, and you have a
counting.
number of children?
I have 4 children, but we raised 12. The other 8 were Hanai. But
Explain Hanai, because we do have visitors
okay.
who don't know.
Hanai is a Polynesian, Hawaiian custom of your relatives or someone giving you a child and you taking that child and raising it to an adult. My husband and I were 2 Farrington High School graduates, and we didn't know business, but we were in the forefront of tourism bursting open at the right time. So right time, right place, sounds like a cliche, but we were. And we kept getting calls for, I guess tourism was booming, and we could not keep up.
You were invited to entertain at the White House. What was that like?
I've told this story before, and it sounds tacky, but in our business, we have a sign that says, in our office, "You don't have to be crazy to work here, we'll train you." And when my secretary came in and she said, "Shah," she said, "the White House is on the line." I picked up the phone and I said, "Yeah, right, and I'm from the Brown House." And there was dead silence. And the gentleman on the other line said, "Mrs. Thompson, the president would like to invite you to..." I could hardly breathe as he was talking to me, and I said, "I see, I understand, absolutely." And my son came in and he said, "Mom, what are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean what I'm doing? I'm going to the White House." He said, "Did they really call?" And from then on, it was like blood, sweat, and tears. How are we going to get there? Who are we taking? You know, we had 1,000 employees before pandemic. And you want to take the best, and yet our people always made Tihati and I. I mean, no matter what you said, they could do it. They did a good job. And so I was so proud to be the first Polynesian show to play the White House.
I never knew that you were the first.
And to meet the president and the first lady and hug them. And, you know, the first thing he said was, "Where's the guy that graduated from Punahou?" Well, of course, my son jumped up and said, "Me, sir." And then "Is Mr. So-and-so still teaching? And what about this? And what about that?" And I said, "Excuse me. We're from Farrington, too. We're from Farrington." And he laughed. And Michelle, she punched my leg. I mean, the first lady, she punched my leg. And I immediately thought, these people are our kind, or we are their kind. Yeah. We've loved them ever since.
Shah, you organized one of the biggest events here in Honolulu, the memorial service for Don Ho, one of our most beloved entertainers. What was that like?
Don was such a genuinely dear friend, just loving, and gave much of what he made and did to fellow entertainers. I mean, anybody who needed a break, you know, they could throw his name around, but we knew him very well. And so when his wife asked me to head the funeral, I wasn't only honored, it was extremely emotional for me because I loved Don, I still do. There wasn't an entertainer that didn't beg to be on that stage to say farewell to Don. And yes, I did organize it. It was wonderful.
It's amazing that you're able to balance a very successful business, but also your family life. And in 1999, you got awarded the Mother of the Year award. What was that like?
I think that is my most treasured award because with all the children that we raised, we are so blessed. They're good kids. And you know, they're old, 40s, and I still call them my kids. As they were being raised, every Sunday after church, wherever they were, they came home for what we call kongai, and we all ate together. Can you imagine 10, 15 of us on one table and everybody talking at the same time? But we knew what everybody was saying. So it's a little bit quiet now. So they still call home, the ones that aren't here on the island. But if they are, they come over. And they usually stay the whole day after lunch.
You're also now booking entertainers into Blue Note Hawaii. What's that like?
Blue Note Hawaii, I cannot say enough about that grand jazz club. The owner, Steve Ben Susan, has been so generous. Even installing, I mean, doing everything he needed to do to help beat the pandemic, installing a 10-foot plexiglass so that the performers could sing back of it. And yeah, a lot of entertainers are still working, but the most we can fill, it's a 333 seating capacity, but barely 100 people make it. It's just very difficult. People they're afraid to go out. Entertainers, like the restaurant people, have taken the biggest hit, I think. We're all comforting one another.
In closing, the name of our show is Inspire You and Me. Shah Thompson, what inspires you?
Right now, all my mo'opuna, 16 grandchildren, all different schools, all different ages, 5 out of college, no, only 3, 2 more still there. And just their stories and the fact that they love coming to Puna and Papa's house every week, at least 2 or 3 times a week, which is very hectic, but it's wonderful.
Sha, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on Inspire You and Me. You are one of the most inspiring women, not just here in the state of Hawaii, but also in the world. Thank you so much.
Mahalo yaoi, mahalo.
Hope that you've enjoyed our show this week. I'm going to leave you with a rich thought for the day. It's about you. Do you have an inspiring story to tell, or do you know someone who has an inspiring story? We would like to invite you to go to our website at inspireyouandme.tv and share your story with us. And if so, it will possibly be on the air. Think about it. Until we meet again, I'm Jessica Lonnie Rich. Take care.
Oh, my, it's a beautiful world. I like surfing Waikiki. I like to paddle out beyond the white breakers, where a man can still be free, or a woman if you are one. Yes, I do like surfing Waikiki. But my, it's a beautiful world. My, it's a beautiful world. Oh, my, it's a beautiful world. My, it's a beautiful world.
The hardest thing in life is letting go of a loved one. Finding the right provider can be essential in your time of need. Celebrate your loved one with Ballard Family Mortuaries. We offer a full range of cremation and burial services on Oahu, Maui, Hilo, and Kona, with professional guidance and specialized attention you can trust at the most affordable cost. Call us today for a free consultation on funeral service options available to you and your family. Ballard Family Mortuary Group, serving Hawaii since 1997.